Life has plenty of somersault moments, and there's something about that upside down position that grabs our attention. Sometimes these moments are filled with beauty and artistry, such as when a gymnast flips over as she dismounts from a balance beam, or gracefully somersaults across the floor. Yet other times, a jarring realization or event turns our life upside down, and we wonder what the next step will be. Has anyone here ever had a somersault experience? A few of us? Oh yeah. Jesus's actions in today's gospel were jarring. He drove out the money changers and turned over the tables, certainly gaining the attention of the temple authorities. Jesus, however, wanted to do more than get their attention. He wanted them to take it to a deeper level and zealously called them to more authentic worship. For the next few minutes, we will talk about some life moments that toss us upside down. What we may need to drive out in order to right ourselves, and how God is with us on that challenging journey. Let's begin with a faith illustration. Chances are many of us do not pray the same way we did 25 to 30 years ago, or maybe even the way we prayed 5 to 10 years ago. Our image of God changes as we experience life and contemplate the divine in our midst. Deepening our understanding of God in an experiential way is enriching, but at the same time, it can be jarring and mind-bending. I remember when I really began to internalize Jesus's words, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." They transported me to a new place. When I realized Jesus was saying that we are to embody God, actually become God in our own flesh for others, through our words, actions, and presence, it knocked my socks off, and honestly, was a bit frightening. I felt completely flipped over and experienced a real-life spiritual somersault. Our God of surprise turned over my table and invited me to a deeper, more authentic way of relating to the divine. To accept this spirit nudge, I needed to drive out or let go of the security of what I used to believe and be open to a more expansive relationship with God. Just as Jesus turned over the money changers' tables, God can turn over our tables when God self-reveals in ways we never expected. Whether a style of prayer, images or names for God, or the experience of worship, sometimes what used to fit just doesn't anymore. It's essential that we allow the Spirit to drive out what was nourishing at one time, but no longer is, and trust that new life will unfold through our spiritual somersault. The second example is one that illustrates how being upside down over a period of time, although difficult, can be a real growth opportunity. An article in last Sunday's Philadelphia Inquirer highlighted former professional ice hockey player, Chris Therien. Chris played for the Philadelphia Flyers for many years, and following his playing career, was a broadcaster for NBC Sports. His story chronicles a journey that has taken him from the throes of alcoholism to a place of peace and purpose. Toward the end of his playing career, his drinking escalated, and when his 32-year-old sister died suddenly of a cardiac event in 2006, he hit rock bottom. Chris's table of life was completely overturned. His road to recovery began a few weeks after her death. Lengthy times of sobriety were interspersed with relapses. Finally, in 2011, he decided he would do this recovery journey one day at a time and has been sober for the past 10 years. Married with 4 children, his wife stuck by him while holding him accountable for his actions. In the words of their oldest 22-year-old daughter, "My mother held the family together." A few years ago, Caryl shared his recovery story publicly for the first time at a rehab center in Atlantic City called Enlightened Solutions. He said, "I was always kind of hesitant to publicly share my story because I didn't want anyone to judge me. But Chris drove out the fear and hesitation, worked for a time at Enlightened Solutions, and began his journey onto a new road." He said, "Every single road I've taken in my life has taken me to this path to begin my journey on. It took me a long time, but I'm okay talking about it." Now no longer a broadcaster at NBC Sports, Chris decided to go full-time helping people in recovery. And this past December, bought Limitless Recovery Center in the Fishtown section of Philadelphia. At this center, he's working with people with many types of addictions. And Chris says his message to people is one of hope. He is now at peace with himself and has found his purpose. His words to those trying to recover are these: "If you want a better life, give me a call. I've got your back." And then goes on to say, in regard to his upcoming work at Limitless Recovery Center, "This will be the most rewarding journey I've ever been on in my life." Chris Tarian's table was overturned by addiction. Through the years, however, he drove out the fear, hesitation, and shame that prevented him from writing that table, and he is now standing upright. The wisdom of God mentioned in today's second reading is surely embodied in Chris Tarian, in who he has been on this long journey of recovery, in the growth he has experienced and shared, and in who he is becoming on this new road. All of us have our own upside down, table turning stories. What are the hot button topics or experiences that create somersaults in our life? Experiences within our heart, in our family, in our neighborhood community, in the public sphere. What is God asking us to do? As we continue our Lenten journey, I invite each of us to ponder these moments, to see them as opportunities for growth, and to ask God for the wisdom and strength to drive out whatever may be keeping us from writing that table.